Hello minasan, Hikiyami Moriko desu, and welcome to another indie game. This one's called Kit, and it's by the developer ENDYSYS. Uh, you might remember me playing this game before because I did about 5 months ago. I played Chapter 1, and it seems like a few chapters have come out during this time. The reason I hadn't played these new chapters yet is because I was having trouble downloading the game on the itch app, but I just download it normally and I'm here to play. So let's go. This game is in development. Content and images are subject to change, right? Kid is a gothic horror tale with a focus on the gothic and less on the horror. Its contents include themes of death, loss, depression, and alcohol, some minor scares, one spooky skeleton, and technically being buried alive, if one considers that cellars are underground. Have fun. I remember this introductory text a little bit different, but maybe I'm just wrong. It's been 5 months, right? When the candle appears, click or press space to proceed with this candle. I think this was one of my suggestions, right? Previously. It might be, I don't know. We'll have to check my own video later. So it's the kit demo, right? It says, wait, I forgot to make it fit the screen. Yeah. Okay, so it's there, right? It says kit demo in here, right? Don't worry, I'm gonna move myself as required to make space for the game. Let's start a new game. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna play chapter 1 again because maybe some things changed. It's been a while, so I want the whole experience in one video, right? So I, Christian Alphonse Winter, soon to be free of my life, leave this final record of its curse. It's the candle, see? It's the candle. I think I got stuck here, like, well, not stuck, I was like, oh, do I click something the first time I play? Okay, I can see. You guys can't see the candle, but it was there. I pause. The wine makes for poor ink, bleeding through the pages and blurring my words. But it's legible enough. I rub my icy hands, trying in vain to stop their shaking. Even at that, something inside me recalls at the thought of opening my pens to feel my pen. I dip the nib one more in the drag of wine. I leave you the tale of my curse, and all my thoughts, feelings, and actions. That one day, should my corpse be unearthed, that someone in some age might grant me the peace of believing in my innocence. Not that anyone will ever read this once you're gone, kid, I think to myself. Because no one will ever find you here. I found the pages careful not to dim the flickering candle that illuminates them, my only companion in this deep and soundless dark. A bitter cold wraps around me like a cloak, stale air escapes from my shallow lungs. The cellar always seems so spacious, row upon row of thick shelves proudly displaying my father's prized vintages. Now its walls surround me like a tomb, and indeed, for all intent, soon shall be. The heavy oak and iron behind me is sealed shut, locked, barred, and barricaded for good measure. Every other living soul in the castle has long fled. I've been alone here 3 days. Mark, as time is impossible to tell by each fitful exhausting sleep. I pick up the pen and feebly try again to write, though my thoughts are dim and clouded as ink. To you, my unfortunate reader, I bequeath you a handful of candles, this journal, and one half-empty bottle of wine. The candles were left strewn about, either by a careless servant or errant thief, or both, fortunately for me. The wine, my only libation here. My state of mind and sobriety are about what you might imagine. The journal I was carrying with me when I was called here. A leather-bound tome embossed with a raven in a birch tree, the crest of my house. Its presence is a small comfort, but one I will take. Time is against me, and yet the words still fight me, refusing to form. The aching in my heart threatens to overtake me again, rack my body with sobs, wrest the air from my lungs. It isn't fair. What have I done to deserve this? I have strived to be good all my life. Dutiful, diligent, a willing student and heir, a loving brother and son. And this is my mercy and reward for both? Yet, in the other corner of my heart, an old doubt creeps upon me, like caviar on the castle walls, the burden I shoulder through life. In the face of suffering, I was told I should not grieve the hand I was dealt. Yet now, at this reminiscent at my life's end, can I truly convince myself that the world, was wrong about my hand in its tragedies? Can I be guilty by the fact of my own existence? Evidently, I was never a man of strong convictions. This game looks really good, I really like it. I set aside the pages looking for a distraction from my thoughts. Of course, down here there is an abundance of options. I sighed and began to stand. Time to take a turn about the cellar for the 100th time. I moved slowly, candle in hand, gingerly feeling along the stone walls. Casting my faint light upon the rows, I literally wonder if a wine cellar can still be called such, strip of such precious liquid. The walls gaped with barren shelves, empty crates left strewn about. Perhaps some prudent members of the household trade was wise not to let the reminder of the family's priceless vintages be buried here with me. Spirits know even mother couldn't have emptied every last drop alone. The same cannot be said of the few things that remain. Objects of little value, too difficult and cumbersome to carry, or simply missed by opportunistic hands, abandoned here to rot with me. As I walk, I spy a lone bottle lying on the side, and what seems to be a stack of unmarked metal cans. I gingerly pick up the bottle and read the label. It's in a multi yellow cherry. A favorite of mother's. The cans appear unlabeled and haphazardly stacked. They are also all unfortunately empty. I pick up one and tap it. It rings hollow. Perhaps the kitchen staff was lacking in space? Sorry. Regardless, I move on. Further on, I spy an old painting and crisp phonograph tucked away on a shelf. As if my feet have mine on their own, I shuffle closer. The painting is a landscape draped in oils, depicting the castle and lake surrounding it. I recall it was painted long before even my grandfather was born. Really beautiful. Mother, I would say, was rather gloomy, and it was likely her taste is to seal its fate. That is, of being sealed away in some forgotten corner, here. Though I suppose she's in wrong. Lakes, seas, and fog are rare subjects for landscapes, reminiscent as they are of the other shore. This one in particular is a fine piece, faithfully capturing the rolling mist of Castle Winter, but I turn away, unwilling to gaze at it further. Not due to any strong agreement with mother's artistic sentiments, but because I need a further reminder of why I've been logged in here. And this. I never imagined I would see this here, of all places. It's a sturdy hand-torn wax cylinder phonograph, imported from far away at great cost. The cover and dust, the wood is smooth and polished, and the brass horn glints against my candle's light. I briefly considered using it to record my story instead of the journal's wine-soaked pages, but there are no recording cylinders stored with it. And neither do I want to look at it for long, let alone touch it. I move on. Finally, I see the outline of what seems to be a large wooden chest. It's made of rough dark wood, plain and very, very old, larger and more aged than my grandparents' esteemed trunk. That the one that Chris and I will hide in during our childhood games. Coils of rope were around and tied around it like serpents. Sorry. Coils of rope. Okay. It could have lain forgotten for decades, even longer, lost behind shelves and crates until someone unearthed it in hopes of ferrying away more of my family's heirlooms. If that is the case, it seems that they were forced to abandon the idea. The chest weight looks considerable. I push against it. It doesn't budge. The ropes are tight, on the other hand, are rotted away in places, and looks like they could be undone with persistence. Secret family treasures could hardly be advantageous to me in my present circumstances. Yet, though the chances are slim, the chest could still hold something of use. Upon the thing that hasn't dried up in decades since it was hidden, perhaps? Who could say? I decide to... Okay. So I think previously I decided to open it, because obviously what else I'm gonna do, right? And I will be choosing leave it be, but I want to open it because I want to relive that experience. Why not? This is my family cellar, so naturally it falls under my possession. Not for very long, of course, but I digress. I consider my options. Unraveling the ropes will require more finesse than I could manage, Even I hadn't required an extra hands for my candle. The candle? It could burn those ropes, but just as Sila said, it wouldn't box itself aflame. What agency I have over the remainder of my life is little, but I would rather not meet a fairy ant here that lives severing the ropes somehow. Well, I had had the fortune of being locked in a wine cellar. A piece of glass should serve well. I ambled back to where I kept my few belongings and picked up the empty bottle of red. I considered how I might break it without making a mess of things. Or myself, and in the end I simply let it fall to the floor. Cautiously I pick up a large shard of slowly return to the chest, avoiding the sharp jagged remains of once priceless vintage. With candle in one hand and shard glass in the other, I cut the rope millimeter by aching millimeter. Here I am, about to die alone in a cellar. And the last sacred act of perhaps greatest accomplishment of my lamentable short life will have been satisfying my dying curiosity. After spirits know how long, the rope gives way. I pause, letting my hand and shoulders rest. And the candle's light flickers as I crack the lid open. Cursing, I fumble for a match from my pocket. I'm aware immediately of the echoing beat of my heart in my ears. The hours alone here have done little to such the complete and awful dread that comes from finding myself in complete blackness. It is utterly, deeply, despairingly lonely. Slowing my breath to steady myself, I let my eyes adjust to the candlelight and stare straight back at a human skull. It takes some time to form a mind to register. It's difficult to tell at first. Some manner of wooden implements are lodging firmly in its sockets, a similar instrument in the mouth. The reminders of skeletons. Remains. Like Karlov in the box, the bones of its hands and feet bound uncomfortably by more rotting rope. A final wooden implement, not a stake, no, a stake, sharpened like a railway spike, lies in the ribcage stuck fast. Murder then. It's a vampire. As I release my held breath, I feel a sharp pain course through my hand. I had gripped the broken glass so that it's drawn blood. Of all things I imagine, this is not what I dreamed the chest will hold, and yet it lies before me thus. Retain my composure. I think I would lose myself. I think I said the same thing on the previous playthrough. I will lose myself. Of course. There will be a corpse in the cellar. Magnificent. Small wonder that I'm cursed. The only they call a murderer is the descendant of murderers himself. I swiftly retrieve and uncork the bottle of cherry, then take a large gulp. After some time, and with a pleasant numbness settling over me, I gaze at the box once again, my eyes settling on its lonely occupant. Forgive my outburst, I was not aware that I would share this time with another. Curled up in the box, the skeleton looks so fragile, almost delicate. Its bones are smaller than my own. Its head will absurdly only reach my chest standing upright. If that, a woman or a very young person then. A pang of sympathy rings through me. Somebody has harmed you and left you to be forgotten. It seems that we share a fate as well. Nowhere in my family history can I recall a soul when went missing, or more sinisterly, one whose body was never found. It is confounding to have such a mystery appear before me with no slither of hope in solving it. Another question to leave this world without even answering. As morbid tale with morbid riddle, Grace, you will love this. For better or worse, I have found my answer for the box, but now what do I do with my new cadaverous comrade? Let me think for a moment. I think I just poured the skeleton at toast last time. And I actually grabbed like a can and like put some wine on it, right? And the wine disappears, I think. And that was quite spooky. But I want to know what happens if I close the box. I have certainly starved the poor soul long enough. My apologies once more, my friend. Might you sleep well, I say as I close the lid with a gentle thought. Grimly, I cannot help but feel as if I'm burying wherever this may be for a second time. I let my gaze linger on the chest, now free of its bindings, 100 new questions forming in the back of my mind. But I have a diary to fill, and fewer hours to fill it. Finally, turning away, I set about to retrieve my pen and return to my sorry tale. I, Christian Alphonse Winter, son to be free of my life, leave the final record of its curse. I'll leave you the tale of my curse, and all my thoughts, feelings, and actions. That one day, should my corpse be unearthed, that someone in some age might grant me the peace of believing in my innocence. I was born minutes after my sister Christina, in the bitter winter of 645. My parents thought themselves blessed, a daughter and a son at once. Indeed, my earliest memories are both their love and warmth. As a child, I wanted for nothing. As a child, I was ignorant of the state of my family's fortunes. I was aware that I was happy and cared for. I knew that none of our family's powers had been slowly sapped over decades like a tree stricken with blight. Our territories in withered boards hungrily swallowed by the other great houses. That our household staff when I was small was a fraction of its size during my grandfather's boyhood. That the wild fields overrun with foliage surrounding the lake were once grand gardens that hosted gatherings for kings and queens. That my father, like his father before him, could only take bolder and bolder risks in both investments and alliance, in his attempts to restore power with all the manner and mania of a gambler. But for a child, those were uneventful years. To not free of our own worries. As far as I can remember, Grace loved to frighten me with tall tales. This from the lips of servants or from forgotten corners of the ancient family library. She was fascinated by the things that crept through the night or stalked through the mist, curious to wild the earth eternal, never to cross to the other shore. I did not think out of the ordinary when she asked me if I had ever seen something, anything, a shadow or simply a thing, that lurked about assuming it was yet another ploy to scare me. Yet her voice and manner this time had a gravity that had not belly and trickery. "I'm not teasing, kid. Do you not feel it at times, something watching you?" she said. I asked her what she meant. "I feel as I'm something staring at me, unblinking, like a boulder, waiting to swoop in on its wings. I believe that I ran off and cried, unwilling to listen to any more of this mystery monster that would swoop down and pick at me. She never mentioned it again, but I have, every so often, seen my sister look over her shoulder with an unsettled mien, as if she were the unwilling object of some gaze I could never sense. My family's fortunes will continue to wane, and Chris and I climb slowly to adulthood. In my 13th year, my father lost his trading vessel at sea. Scarcely any of its value could be recovered. The ship suddenly disappeared, so bizarre auditors could only see it as a poor attempt at fraud. Supposedly, it vanished into mist, and neither ship nor crew were ever seen again. I remember my father's furious months, the long hours, days, and nights at his desk, the endless meetings and shouting matches with his business partners, the shouting matches with mother, the way the very air would grow down and still when he entered the room, and remained that way even without his presence. If I had been cleverer, more diligent in my studies, perhaps I could have changed things, fixed things, lessened his burdens. But I was ever as useful as a dull blade to the trunk of a tree. The following year, during a visit to our state, my cousin Franz was injured in a fencing accident. My aunt, who never seemed to enjoy her visits with us, a feeling quite mutual to Chris and myself, flew into a rage, claiming its consequence of spending any time with some misfortunate family. I recall feeling a little guilty, wishing it meant she would cease her visits for a while. My aunt and cousin were never kind to me. Franz would tackle me or pull on my hair, and when I could only stare at him in loathing, he taunted me for looking like a bolter. Ugly, my locks a mess about my face, blue eyes staring hard ahead lest I break my tears. My dear cousin, I'm sorry for your fate, for I should not seal mine as well. My hands shake, and I cannot tell if it's the cold, the alcohol, or rage. I thought myself at peace with my fate. Well, it seems the mind is fickle. I stare at the pages with equal amounts swearing as disgust. I stare at the pages with equal amounts swearing. Why I must perform this farce of final rites for myself. Yeah, sorry. It's when I'm gonna break the immersion a little bit when it just stops mid sentence and then I just expect a whole new sentence. Sorry about that. Why not seize this, accept that no one will light a candle for me, nor pray for the mist of the other shore to part for my soul? For if I could not control my fate in life, then what about that? Then what of that? Great spirit, demon, what have you? I cannot be sane to give a lick of credence to fairy tales. But for a moment, I wish with all the venom in my heart that they might be true.
that living will still live, while beneath the glorious sun. Live and breathe and smile and dance, while I lie cold in the cellar. I bury my head in my arms to rest my sight a moment, but exhausted from the mental effort, driven to nothingness.
The rain is ceaseless, pouring. The candles we quite obviously forgot, but the flowers will be ruined swiftly as well. If I had looked clear an hour prior, bad luck again, of course. It matters little to me. My feet are planted in the mud, but I feel as a ghost. At once present and distant from this somber entourage. I look for Chris, not with me beneath my umbrella, wondering if she's warm. Chris is not here. Every time I'm forced to remember is a knife in my heart. Chris is not here. A voice rings out distantly, but I pay a little attention. We pray for the soul to find peace. Our beloved daughter, sister, friend. Must she be guided through the mist to paradise eternal.
I feel a gloved hand squeeze my arm, more of its soreness support than mine. Mother holds a bouquet of lilies in one arm and tugs at me with the other. I follow obediently, wielding the umbrella as a shield while she kneels by the water, scattering the white flowers over its surface. Voices whisper like the wispy murmuring of insects. How cold. They did say he was aloof. Not even a tear for his sister. What a pitiable family. How could they know? How could they know that the kid that stands in the mud before of them is an empty shell? Unable to cry or laugh or scream. Broken. His heart gone along with you. Something white catches my eye. At first I think it's a stray lily, but it billows like curtains. Like a woman's white dress. I drop the umbrella. I wade deep in the lake, ignoring the torrent of rain. The startled cries soon I can no longer hear them, nor feel the call of the water. I am no longer by the lake. Everything is blackness around me. But she is still there, a spectrum in white.
And there she is, the woman in white, right? I'm gonna up the volume of the game a little bit. I feel it's kinda low.
Chris! Chris, I shout. The figure is indistinct, her image swirling and shifting before me like mist. I can see her eyes. I can see if she's who I hope or fear she is. She does not move her mouth, but I hear a voice all the same. It's familiar, but I cannot be sure if it's hers. It's so distant and faint, crackle and cumbering like a sand.
Ooh, that's a nice, like, static sound. I'm gonna up the volume of the game a little bit more. Hope it's not too much. Can you guys hear that? It's nice.
Kid. Begin. We only have so many. Chris, is it you? Wait! But she too melts away before I'm giving an answer, and I return to blackness once more. Something warm. That once was warm. I hold it in my hands. It's sticky, sleek. The beating stops. I know no feeling, no sensation save numbness. Are you cold? Okay. I break slowly, luckily through the edge of wakefulness, returning to the pitch blackness of reality and an empty cellar. I fumble for a candle and clumsily light it, hands shaking terribly. I reach for my journal and think about igniting it, watching the words burn away into nothing while I curl against the wall, close my eyes and hope never to wake again. It will be so easy to simply give in, to walk into oblivion without memory, without resistance. Damn the mist, damn eternity. As I turn the pages absently, my candle flickers over an inscription in a familiar hand.
Dear Kid, I do hope you plan to use this journal. It's a proper habit. I want no excuses when you leave me alone to go off to university. Surely your classes will not be so stimulating or dreadful that you forget to write to your oldest sister. With love, Chris. Chris.
I miss you so much. If I could have swapped places with you, crossed the mist of that distant shore instead, I would have been a moment without hesitating a breath. I know that if I'm to find my way to you, in that paradise beyond the mist, I cannot pass with the stain of my soul without holding fast to my innocence. I must not let my fate drive me to madness and revelement, nor leave my task unfinished and risk my spirit to wander all of eternity. With a heavy sigh, I set my pen to the pages once more. The years following were being read by more accidents and misfortunes. A portion of the castle wall collapsed, narrowing, missing my father and one of the gardeners, Viola. It's Viola, right? We had no means of the repairs, and the entire section was simply walled off. Mother's melodies worsened as time went by. Some days she seemed her usual, bright spirit and amiable self. Then on others, she will be unable to leave her room, laying abed, afflicted with unending fatigue.
It's called depression.
Father's extensive trips outside the state meant her care fell to Chris and myself. The doctors could never unravel her mystery illness. Father's extensive trips outside the state meant her. The doctors could never unravel her mystery illness, and the mere mention of holidaying in warm climes for her health brought only her vehement refusal to be part from us. She will often take a drug to settle herself instead. I cannot help but let my thoughts stray towards my parents. Where are they now? Are they safe? Does mother remains at father's side? Did he abandon her as well? Despite all, I know he will not let her come to harm. Or would he? He is regretful at all of his constant betrayals of her fate, or the fate he is now left to me. All of a sudden, I pity them more than I do myself. Subverting nature's curse, burying another child, how must they feel?
Well, I'll never get to know.
But after all, I cannot blame them.
I think you always have a choice. Doesn't matter what happens, you always have it. So I don't think you failed them. But let's just go with this.
To the world, to an impartial eye, this is just my ending, the punishment I rightly earned. Even when my parents do believe in my innocence, what could they do? The king himself would settle for none but my blood. They still entombed you in a cellar.
Yeah, that's true. What's a fate worse than death? Unless they knew this would not be your death, right? That's the other possibility of this whole thing. It's your parents kinda know you would survive somehow.
I set down my pen, closed my eyes, and raised my shoulders. Everything hurts. What was that? I should startled upright, wondering if I nodded off, caught in a dream or nightmare. The pain that courses through my body reminds me I'm not. Footsteps echoing here, not in my imagination. For one split fraction of a second, a faint hope dares to swell inside me. That father's conscience has wrestled his heart, that despite all, he has forgiven me and come for my release. And I bury just as quickly. The steps sounds from within the cellar before me, not without.
What?
The oak and iron door is shut as fast as I was before. There is no room for hope in this heart. There might be room, however, for fear. The steps are loud, yet indistinct, as if from a distance, but from it sounds very near. Very near, impossible for a rat to make it, and for mine to scurry here then. Griswold's echo. I'm not teasing, kid. Do you not feel at times something watching you? Spirits, help me. Whatever it may be, I look around frantically for something I may arm myself with. I settle for the piece of glass I used to sever the ropes. Holding it carefully, I inch towards the sound. Closer and closer. Louder and louder. Coarser and coarser. My own muffled steps ring in line with whatever the phantom footsteps belong to, like a macro of a dance. That's it. Again from the start. Step, slide, and step. Turn a bit more.
Kid, stand closer. Whoa.
Mother? Must I? My own disembodied voice calls out from the depths of the cellar. Yet nothing lies before me but an empty shelf. And Chris' phonograph's playing on its own? The step, slide, step of dance share across the music room floor.
I'm back. Is it my turn? Oh, spirits, who left this recording? This is like my favorite part of last time. I remember it was like really good. So I'm gonna use this to make myself a little bit smaller, so I take less of the screen. You can see how the text box changes graphics. Really nice touch. That's it, again from the start. Step, slide, and step. Turn a bit more. Kid, stand closer.
Must I? I have been practicing dance steps all morning. The polka, the mazurka, and now the waltz, or so they are called. To me, they are a confusing jumble of movements mixing themselves in odd manners in my memory. My feet, legs, arms, and shoulders all ache.
I'm back. Is it my turn? Oh, spirits, who left this recording?
Chris struts over to the phonograph.
Recording?
So that's why I didn't play any music. I thought it was broken.
Kid, I told you not to touch it. I hardly have any cylinders left and you wasted another.
The wax ones? I thought you had a whole crate.
No, somehow they sent up a box full of empty containers by mistake. It'll be months before another shipment arrives.
I didn't realize. I'm sorry, Chris.
She sighed with substance in her expression. It's alright here. To listen back, you change the stylus like this, see? Then you slide on the cylinder, you're ready to record like this. She deftly fiddles with the wood and metal contraption, then reaches for a canister piled neatly in the cupboard. Let's see. Find the waltz that Kid was playing on the piano, dear.
Absolutely not.
Kid, it's only for practice.
I'm not finished, and my playing is totally horrific.
You can practice here and now, Chris and Alphonse. Or we can have you to take lessons from your Aunt Rosamond. Oh, very well.
I sighed defeated. I take my place next to Mother as the recording starts. I can hardly concentrate. The thin, inelegant notes of the piano—
I'm sorry, I was listening to the piano—
are played back to me as I stumble over Mother's foot.
Oh dear, here, let me.
Mother gives her relieved expression as Chris takes her place and gently corrects my form. Adjust the placement of my weary limbs.
Just relax, kid.
I can't. This is even worse.
If you make a fool of yourself now, dear, I'll save you this embarrassment later. I'm gonna cut myself, and I think I mentioned this the last time I played this game, but this song really reminds me of a specific song in Persona 4, but also a song in that old game called Rusty Hearts. I think it's Lament for a Rusty Heart, the theme song of that game. This is really good music.
Horrible, the both of you. Yet with Chris calming guiding me, reminding me of the steps and making quick corrections, I do begin to relax. Playing of the awkward tune, I finally have some semblance of grasp of the dance. The phonograph lies silent. This damn thing, I should make a fool of me once more. I relax my hold on the shards of glass and nearly laugh aloud of the sheer relief and shame. Perhaps I was right. It really was broken. How much should it be playing on its own? I swear there was no cylinder affixed to it, but I have never had a finesse with such contraptions. I swear that, and Doubtless in my mind is beginning to play tricks on itself and being trapped here so long. I realize only it's the first time I hear her voice in nearly 3 years. I wind up the phonographs again, my shaking fingers gripping the carved wood handle like that. I cannot help it. Once more, I wait for the terrible and awkward noise of my footsteps, Mother's instructions, and my own short protest to the end, until finally her words return.
I'm back. Is it my turn? Oh, spirits, who left this recording?
I know it, scolding me, true. But you could lecture me about every single minute of my faults. You could tell me you hated me, despised me, once more. I stand there, sucking in the memory for some time. Finally, I return my gaze to the phonograph. Let's make sure you don't make quite so much noise again, I say as I awkwardly pry the wax cylinder off the device. I examine the contraption again. It is strange. Everything that lies here is cloaked in years of dust. Yet on the object before me, the dust is nowhere stick. The phonograph in my memory was shining anew. It was Grace's birthday gift from that solstice 3 years ago. She never had long to use it, and none has touched it after she had gone. Yet, here it looks well worn, reused and replayed through the years. Who will be creeping down here to play the sound of footsteps over and over again? And why? Or were they like me, only seeking to hear her voice? But if so, why keep it buried in the cellar and not someplace closer to the hand?
Good question.
I sink down on the floor. My head sinks with pain. This mystery does not help. I will die for a drink right now. Where was that bottle of sherry? I must have left it in my bony friend after taking draught.
So this is where you come back after, even if you share the drink with you come back here, right?
I make my way slowly back to the chest with the skeleton breast flickering candle in hand. Careful not to trip on the uneven floor, I inch closer. The skeleton's lonesome skull seems to stare out at me. Stare out at me? Hadn't I closed it? I swore.
Yeah, it was closed.
Well, it seems there's nothing in it if I'm going mad. But seeing that I have a good view of the cellar here, have you an idea where I put that cherry?
The skeleton offers no response. Of course it doesn't.
I fumble about the floor and finally locate the bottle. I take a long draught and settle down beside the chest, stretching my legs. I'm too exhausted to bother closing the lid again. I suppose there's no harm in letting you suck into the delightful cellar here, I said aloud. I lean back against the box for some few minutes, fighting the fatigue. The cherry does not ameliorate much, but its slightly warming numbness is welcome all the same. Finally, setting the bottle aside with a soft clink, I turn to my companion. Raising my candle above the chest, I allow my gaze to fall upon the skeleton again. Old bones, worn robes, rotting jagged wood, jutting from its eye socket, its mouth, its ribcage, its gruesome display. I cannot decide if it looks like it slumbers, or rather looking an eternal silent scream. The sight of its bony fingers gripping the stake of its own chest fills me with a sudden, equally childish, equally horrible thought. I know I had closed the lid. Will I truly have opened the chest again? What if I wasn't? Who did so, unremembered? What if something else had? Stop. Stop. You do not have time for this, Grit. You're a storytale to write and a burial to complete. Your own. You're not dying with rites unfinished. But wouldn't it hurt to check? Look for something to settle this strange unease, lest it consume my every mind thought?
Ignore the idea, let the bones rest, examine the bones thoroughly. Let's I think I did the same thing last time.
I need an answer. And if that answer is that I'm a fool, a forgetful one doubtfully of his own sanity. I examine the chest first. Perhaps there is some flaw, some fault in its design, spring or such that will leave it without me touching it. Never mind, that the very weight of the wooden lid will defy such a simple solution. I feel along to the wood, where are my fingertips gathering splinters. The box is old, but still relatively smooth. An edge does not hamper the movement of its solid iron hinges. I cast my sight next upon the skeleton. With stakes of its eye sockets, the skull cannot be said to look onward, but I feel as if it does, as the empty holes that once held eyes lock in my own. Forgive me, this will only take a moment. I say unsure exactly of who I'm reassuring. I quickly turn my attention to the bending ropes. They are half rotting frayed in places, but not that so tightly as if they still forbid movement. A clumsy attempt to untie them proves as much. Grimacing, I reach my hand to the bottom of the chest, looking for anything else, any other sign. My fingers brush solid wood and frayed scraps on some sort of fabric. Remnants of a garment that the skeleton once wore when he was alive, perhaps. Nothing to suggest he had moved an inch since. I disturb its rest. Then I am a fool. A simple, ordinary fool losing his simple mind. Despite my findings, the unease in my heart fails to leave me. The pit in my stomach gnawing only deeper. But why? I don't have an answer. Suddenly aware of Skeleton's gaze, I uncomfortably turn away. I regret that I let my childhood selves get the better of me. I say, my voice low and thin. But why do I bother to apologize to a corpse that I establish is no more or less than an ordinary corpse, a pile of bones in a box? My mind is not, quite well to say at least. Sorry. Giving the chest a final look, I carefully tuck the cherry away and return at last to my journal. The year Chris and I turned 18 was blissfully peaceful, save for the late summer when I began my studies in the capital. The mix of emotions within me was indescribable. I felt something like a fledgling shed of its dawn, spreading in a strange new wings of for flight. So I traveled plenty with father, seeing the great lands and cities of our neighbors. Whitehorse was all truly I knew. I truly knew. Mother and father Castle, Winter and Chris were all I knew. It was uneasy to be apart from my own twin, for the first time in our lives, to say the least. Of course, of all the people to come with me to university, there could be none other than my dear cousin Franz. Or, I him, as he put it. He wasted no time trying to frame me as a pariah, exaggerating the rumors that swirled around House Winter, but thankfully neither subtly nor persuasion were ever his graces. That which is dangerous tends to attract attention, for good or typically ill. And keeping cool at Fran's ravings, I found myself with a popularity I never asked for nor expected. Quite to my cousin's dismay. Despite excitement, all interest in me died down soon enough, reduced to the usual whispers, and I found myself with few friends as before. Returning home for the winter holiday after the flurry of those restless months was a relief. And just in time for our unforgettable solstice festival. My parents had saved for years to host a grand ball for our coming of age. A bit old-fashioned, but a tradition of the great families to which we belong, our reduced status notwithstanding. It was one of the happiest and most bitter days of my life. It was the one that I first learned heartbreak. Yet, in the smiling face of my family and my joy in seeing Chris reveling in her spotlight, I was content. I knew that celebrating together this way would be difficult as we grew older, still. And the paths before us diverged, and so I treasure it. I could not imagine it would be the last.
We can see a very beautiful view from here. This is a memory, right? I think. Well, obviously it's a memory. We're trapped in the basement, right? In the cellar. How much have you had? You look like you'll topple over. Just a glass. How can you drink that much and be fine? It isn't fair. You're a beast. You're just a lightweight. Shall I fetch some water? No, I just need fresh air. Before I go back in there to dance with the unpent lord and so, eligible bachelor from such and such. Chris. Oh, I'm sorry, kid. It's not that I haven't enjoying myself. I don't remember the last time we had a ball, but... You know that father and mother will never make you marry someone you didn't want to. We'll live in the modern age, Chris. Chris looks out over to the balcony, over the gardens towards the lake, sighing. I know that, but I know that it's within my power to change things for us too. I can't be sheltered little girl forever.
You don't have to live your life for anyone else. Just live it as you see fit. Besides, you aren't alone in this. The person I marry will become the next Countess of Whiteburst. And I'm not optimistic there exists a lady who meets even the most modest of father's expectations.
Father's expectations?
What was that about living life as you see fit? I.
This is a big choice. I don't remember what I. Duty comes before happiness. I don't need romance to be happy. I think you need romance to be happy. Everyone, right? I don't know if I want to marry. That's true. I don't understand. This is too like pessimistic, and this is simply too much, especially considering what happened with me. And so I don't know if I want to marry.
I'd shift away. I'm unsure if I could ever let myself feel that way about someone, or if I would want to. In some ways, it's more of a relief to think of marriage as a transaction, an exchange of powers, and we're done with it.
You're not just saying that because Lady Angel refused to dance with you in front of the entire room, are you?
I admit it felt as I told myself privileged part of my body then.
Drama queen.
But no, I had these thoughts for some time.
Chris slowly touches my arm. You have to end up like father and mother, you know? You could meet someone wonderful, and it could stay wonderful for your whole lives. That's true, that can happen.
I turned my gaze to the night sky, blue as ink, speckled with distant stars. The full moon shining lower and lonesome. I know, but it seems like a dream. Sensing my need for a distraction, Chris quickly changes the subject.
Did you see earlier? Franz accidentally spilled his entire glass on Lady Margaret's dress.
I'm glad I did not, for if I were in the room, he would surely have blamed me for his bad luck.
A sudden night chill accompanies the final strains of the mazurka from the ballroom.
As I glance inside, I catch a glimpse of white. White like a gentle snow amidst the vivid garden of colorful jewels and gowns. Chris, did you see that?
Say what? Oh, stop, you're pretending to see a ghost, aren't you? How many heads does it have? Limbs, chains, bloody bandages?
The fairy in white glides more than walks across the floor, her gown shimmering like the sun upon frozen waters beneath the chandeliers. Locks of her hair rolls in silvery waves. I can think of no word to describe her, save breathtaking. Then she stops as if waiting for something, someone. Suddenly, in a way I cannot fully describe, I'm drawn to waits at once. Atop a balcony deep in the night, I face the brightness of a ballroom mere steps from where I stand. A threshold between light and dark, my body at its boundary. The ballroom is incandescent, wild and bright. A place emptied, nearly alive. It never leaves its purpose until tonight. The fullness of its light and life is strange, but not unwelcoming. Rather, the warmth it offers the lighter and music and candles it entices. And yet, the darkness outside is familiar. The darkness it cannot truly be called, lit with the brilliant moon and a scentless sea of stars. Far away, cold in their distance, but steadfast and gentle. Never harsh, never casting down their judgment. The night wraps around me, accepts me. It embraces is what I know. I'm unsure of how long I stand at the threshold. Time feels like a dream. A scene I can't swear. I'm looking down upon while I know it's surely that I live and walk within it. Finally,
I think I followed the figure last time. I would stay on the balcony. This time with my sister, hopefully.
One head, 4 limbs. No blade chains as far as I can see.
How dull. But then again, the boring ones are the scariest. You'll never be sure if it's a ghost or Miss Walker until it's too late.
Chris. I turn again to the ballroom. The dazzling figure is gone. Has she walked off elsewhere? But did I truly imagine her? Was she really...
I think I'll go back inside, kid. It's really getting chilly.
Go on ahead. I'll stay here a bit longer. See you soon.
Careful you don't run into your ghost.
Perhaps I'll ask her to the next dance if I do.
I think that's what we do in the other option.
I watched, I watched Chris go out and turn again to the full moon, along with my thoughts. Yet despite my sister's reassurances, and my own desperate desire elsewise, my mind wanders back to the subject that had saw me on the balcony in the first place.
I decline, Lord Winter. There is nothing I would resent more this evening than to be partnered with you. Wow, that's rude.
Anja, I tried desperately to think of anything else, but lost the battle quickly. What have I done to offend you so? I think of summer, of the briefest glimpse of that conspiratorial gaze, the scent of fresh roses, thick but never cloying in the hair. I could never expect your favor, nor could I be surprised if your fondness was fleeting, gone with a seasonal rain, but how could I never see how thoroughly you hated me? So absorbed I am in the tumult of my mind, that I failed to notice the approach of all too familiar footsteps.
France. Where are you looking out so furiously, kitten? Thinking of going for a swim in the lake?
France. I swear my cousin has a supernatural ability to appear when one less wishes to see him. Sniffing about for trouble like a hunting dog in search of willful. France and I stand at the same height. In fact, I know with some precision thanks to the many comparisons our mothers made within Australia or youths. I thought he's the senior of several months. If one were asked, from memory however, who of us had the higher stature, his swagger and cockhead will likely leave him the victor. Ah, cousin, not enjoying your evening either? An accident with the wine, perhaps? I watched with some satisfaction as the color in his cheeks turned as red as his locks.
You're the one to talk. It's your ball and you're hiding out here like a rat.
So be it, I'll not score in your way.
Oh, I can hear some interesting sounds. What's the matter, kitten? Don't you feel like dancing? I'm sure somebody will take pity on you for the last waltz.
If you're asking me to dance, I'll have to decline.
You? Alright then. Stay out here like a coward. I can hardly believe Lady Fruhaling ever gave someone like you the time of the day.
If that's all, I'll take my leave. Do be careful not to ruin any more gowns.
I can't wait to see you grow miserable and alone, kid.
There's nothing you can say to me that will dampen my spirits any further, cousin. Enjoy the ball.
Well, joke's on you. I'm not gonna grow old and lonely. I'm gonna die in a wine cellar.
I find myself pacing through the grounds away from all of them. All the brightly lit space unsure of my destination. A while will do me good nonetheless, I think, presently to myself. Like Chris said, the grounds are chilly, this late at night in the middle of winter. I walk briskly through the small courtyard, hands in my pockets to keep warm, soaking in the full moonlight. The air, too cold, is blissfully clear and crisp.
That's my favorite kind of air.
I make my way to the fountain, perpetually dry after Simon, our groundskeeper, abandoned his attempts to repair it. It's a spot I commonly stop and think, when I see someone already sitting by the stone angel. Hunched over, huddled and shaking. I dove my eyes for a long, painful moment. Anja? Anja? I call out. The figure turns sharply and I feel her large, beautiful cat-like eyes bore through me. She wears a woolen cape over her evening gown. With her willowy frame, she still shivers like a sapling in a spring storm. Her lips are stained with blood.
Ooh, what happened? I think this is the first time I see Anja. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember her from my previous playthrough. She's also quite beautiful.
Just as she speaks my name, a boiling cold racks her body. She covers her face and cocks into her hands for several seconds. As I rush toward her, I fish my handkerchief from my pocket. Here. She takes it reluctantly. A red handkerchief, how quaint. She says slowly, dabbing off the blood. Don't you also often have blood stains to hide, or does your sister have a blue one? Are you alright? Ah, forgive me, Lady Fruling. I didn't know you were here. That is, I didn't follow you out. I only went for a walk alone.
To cool off after I humiliated you? Well, now you know why I wanted nothing more to do with you, Lord Winter. I'm dying. That's depressing.
It's as if she reveals in seeing the shock of my face. Dying? That's impossible.
Don't pity me, Kristen. There's nothing I'll regret leaving. You gotta love and cry and dance under the sun all your merry little lives. While I will be free of this damnable world.
Pity? Do you think I look at you now that I feel something as significant as pity? It breaks my heart to see you suffer like this. Describe your own life like if it were valueless.
Stop it. I'll not have you suffer for me, Kristen.
Is that why you say nothing? Another omission? Another lie?
Sorry.
To hold onto the burden you think no one else should carry?
Sorry.
If so, you have already failed, my lady. You should have lived without letting a single person come to care for you. Please forgive me, I didn't mean.
There's nothing to forgive, my lord. Forgiveness will imply that I disagree with you.
We stand in agonizing silence. 1,000 words unsaid, 1,000 futures endings all suddenly lost. The wind howls.
Like, excuse me for a second, but like, imagine that like your crush rejects you in front of everyone, and you're like, man, I feel really bad, and then you find out she's going to die. That's gonna feel even worse, right?
To go through my skin straight to my bones. My throat feels as dry as the fountain before us. How long do you have?
A year. Perhaps two if I'm lucky, she says with a mirthless laugh, folding her cape around her as she stands from the fountain.
Anja, wait!
Wow, this is a difficult one. Well, not really.
Let me stay by your side. I could take care of you.
So you can swoop in like a boulder after my convenient demise? What is it you want, Kristen? My power? Money? Wow, god damn it. I feel this in a personal level, because what's it with people that you're like actually trying to help and thinking you want something from them, right? It has personally happened to me before. That's not nice. I know, like even if I wanted your money or your power, what do you care? You're gonna die anyway. Would you rather have someone that cares for you for what little time you have? But obviously, I believe in like Christian, and I don't think he's doing it for like a bad reason. Or do you see yourself the hero of some tragic story, whose only rewards for his benevolence are misery and suffering? Hey, that's me. There are few things I care enough in this life to hate, Kristen Winter. But I despise desperate men. Wow, did you just call me desperate? Wow, okay. I know you're dying and I'm gonna give you a pass, but that's rude. Men who think themselves victim of Lady Fortune or fate, I never want to see they themselves hold any blame.
That's not what
It's not bad luck that I'm afflicted with this illness. It's an accident of life. Just as you are not as unlucky charm that attracts all of its misfortunes, so much as you allow yourself to be blamed as one.
She hands me back the bloody handkerchief, fingers briefly brushing mine, then steps from the fountain.
Farewell, kid. And I will see you again, this side of the shore.
As a biting wind courses through the midnight air, cooling the burning iron that rushes through my veins, I cannot help myself but to turn to look at her once more. And she's gone.
That means in 2 years, not only my sister died, but also my well, it was not my lover, right? But the person I loved.
The figure in white stands before me instead. Balky by the moon, the mist of her hair and gold dazzling around. I cannot make out her face, but I can imagine the chill of her gaze. I told you. Do you loathe me as well? Must I?
I don't know if it's the moon or it's the combination of the woman I have lost.
I turn away towards the cloudless star-studded sky. The courtyard begins to shift and darken around me. Familiar shapes and trees melting into the night sky then gradually to nothingness. I just. I don't. I didn't want her to die. I faced the spirit, shimmering like a fading star. What is it you want? What do you want so badly to pry into my past, my feelings, my desires? Whether I love her with the fullness of my heart, or simply saw a solution to my family's burdens, is not your business. I never believed I had a chance not once, but not because of this. I cradle the blooded handkerchief in my hands. It's not bad luck that I'm afflicted with this illness. It's an accident of life. Life, she said. Tell me, why are you here? What purpose do we exist for? Why do we live? I never asked for any of this. Never wanted to be Christian Alphonse, cursed son of winter, bringer of misery and death. Am I supposed to accept that there's no meaning to any of it? To who I am, whom I love, to any of the cruelties it inflicts? No. Beautiful. From the start. The words she struggles to convey are coarse and faint, like grains of sand slipping away through an hourglass. Never mind. When I awaken, I'll find myself lying in a cold cellar, or the banks of the shore, and then it will be matter enough. No. But despite her protest, she cannot keep me here, and I already feel myself slipping to nothingness. Are you cold, Adel? No. Not while you are here. You are warmed, from the tips of your fingers to the well of your heart, like veins of a leaf cascading from its stem. If summer, that time of wonder or not, to me it's warmed. You must be what summer's like. Is it you I adore? Or is the iron that flows through your veins what I cannot tear myself away from? It's a vampire. I'm glad. Hold on just a little longer.
I think this is where the chapter 1 ends, right? The other game, I think this is where it ends. Yeah, I think this is where the chapter 1 ends, right? So I think from this point onwards it's gonna be all different. I did took some different choices in this playthrough than the previous one. So if you want to see other choices like having a drink with the skeleton, you can see my previous playthrough. Let's just keep going, right? This game is gonna be, I assume, like 3 hours long, maybe more or less.
I awaken with a violent start, gasping for air. Breathe, kid, just breathe. Inhale, exhale. I sit, my eyes shut, repeating the motion for several moments before I open them again.
No, I think this was part of the chapter 1.
The candles still lit. I haven't been adrift long, so I feel like I wanted through half-remembered dreams over eternity. Their dim presence still lingers around my mind, shrouding my thoughts and even my body with leaden weariness. My limbs feel like they are made of fog. Dark splotches cover the open page of the journal, leaving my lap. A cold flash of panic cuts through me like ice.
Sorry.
Fear that I read the tome with split wine. But I find the pages dry and intact, caked with the metallic tank of iron. Gingerly, I touch my face, and find dried blood on the bridge between my nose and lips, dribbled down my chin. Not wine, but simply my lifeblood. What a relief.
I'm just bleeding. Good thing I still have my wine.
I wipe myself as best as I can with the back of my sleeve. I dimly remember the last time I had nosebleed as a child, crying and making a mess of my mother's shawl. I haven't much left. Sighing, I pick up the pen again with an unsteady hand. We lost her in the spring. I can't. Even now, even years after, knowing that I have to put these words to paper stuffs my hand and weights my chest down like a stone. Stop running, kid. You have to see this through. You can't pretend it never happened. Because your mind may be muddled, but your heart will never forget. This chronicle was supposed to be one of my innocence, but this feels more like a confession of my guilt. If I have never lived, Will my sister now be alive and happy and well? I bury my head, but it doesn't stop the images from entering my mind, boarding behind my eyelids. Chris is smiling in her saddle, bathing Comet's black mane as the wind catches the ribbon in her hair. I said I wish I could hear your voice again. If you could speak to me now from the other shore. And if you said you hated me. But I know I failed you. But you failed me too. You said you will always protect me. Yeah, this is part of chapter 1. But when you were gone, there was no one to look out for but myself. And I wasn't strong like you. I couldn't save anyone, less of my own soul. Look where I ended up. I'm on my feet before I realized it again, fumbling unsteady towards the shelf that holds her voice in a small cylinder. Her voice, trapped here for so long. As I will be as well. I got her to place the cylinder on the phonograph like she once showed me, then slowly went it off again. I'm back. Is it my turn? Oh, spirits, who left this recording? I wiped my ass on the bloodied sleeve and smiled weakly despite the bitterness and despair that threatens to overflow. Her voice a single, fragile dam of its flood. I'm sorry for being such a pathetic sibling. I know you will tell me to get on it with it. I will. I won't fail you this time. I sighed deeply as I pick up the candle and steel myself for the wall back. I move out Carl's space inch by inch. I seem to have made a mess the last time I took a turn about the place. Spraying falling metal cans landing on the floor, I carefully maneuver so as not to trip over them. Yet, despite my caution, I nearly bump into the chest. Fearful of dropping the candle, I place a hand on its rough wooden edge and steady myself for a few moments. The skeleton looks up at me all the while. Apologies. It's harder to run into each other when we all leave not so much space to share, I mumble. I suddenly want to laugh out loud. In this moment, finding a corpse in the cellar seems like one of the least unlikely things that should happen to poor unlucky Kid Winter. Forgive the talk, friend, but you might be the only person I couldn't bring to ruin to, seeing the state you're already in. You'll forgive me for how I pestered you, won't you? I'm mad after all. As I glance around the darkness of the cellar, I think of the wine-soaked pages of the journal. It's the smallest of mercies, but a mercy still, that I'm given a chance to settle my affairs before my own rights, in a manner before the final shore calls me. Though, I have not heard of them being performed while the part still drew breath. I suddenly imagine ghostly bodies appearing out of the mist, informing me too late of my transgressions, and chuckle at the thought. How lucky I am, aren't I, my friend? Though I imagine it was not the same for you. I glanced down at my bunny companion in the chest. Who are you? Who were you? I wonder, my fingers absent tracing the outline of the box. Did anyone light a candle for you? Did they miss you, remember you, now that you were gone? There is no answer. Well, rest assured that you are all alone, my dear. If even a soul remained that cared for me, well, I wouldn't be here performing this farce of funeral rites myself. I laughed long and joyously. Moments passed before I looked into her steak-filled eye sockets again. Don't be sore, my dear. I won't forget you, whoever you are. I promise. When my chronicle is complete, I'll light one last candle for the both of us. I give the box one last friendly pat, then stand, taking my candle, my own bones aching as I return to my journal. I grit my teeth and wipe the tears off my cheek as I begin to write. We lost her in the spring. It was March of 664. I had just returned home from the Libram from the Equinox Festival. The morning was clear with nary a cloud. The first blossoms falling casually in the trees. It was a gorgeous day. I wanted to take Stella, my grey mare, out for a ride. I begged Chris to come with me. If only I hadn't. The bite of the hair, the The cold and distant sun high above, the new buds in the trees. I remember these things, but precious little else about that day. What was she wearing? Surely blue. But what shade? Did she have her old cloak on? The day was cold enough, wasn't it? Was her hair in a braid? Or had she pinned it up? All was well. All was well, until the fog rolled in, blowing by sudden forceful winds. We were near the woods when something scared her horse, terrified him. He bolted off, my sister dragged along in his saddle. I urged stealth after them, but no amount of coaxing or force would shake her terror or move her from the spot. We searched for hours. That much I know. Did the weather worsen, turn to a storm? At times I close my eyes and hear a thunder. Others I see nothing but the faint outline of trees clocking fog and silence. And then, her scream. I was the one who found her horse, riderless, wild like he was possessed. He galloped off into the wood when he saw me, never to be seen again. Father found her. I never pressed him for details. He never shared, but he never looked at me the same way again. It rained at her wake, despite looking clear the same morning. I wasn't in my right mind. I thought I saw her in the water. I waded off to the lake. Father thought I was trying to drown myself. Perhaps I should have, if I would only led to this. I stopped a moment to collect myself, taking slow, deep breaths. It hurts to exhale too quickly, like the air is filled with knives. My memory is like a window pane, fractured so badly I cannot see through the cobweb of its cracks, only where the shards have fallen out. Some pieces I desperately want to look through are obscure to me. Others are painfully clear and cut as sharply as glass. To my shame, most days of my life, I wish I could board up the window entirely and remember nothing at all. And the guilt is as much part of me as my own heart, closer than a dagger plunged into my chest. On sight I never withdraw without bleeding out. My mother's condition worsened soon after. It was as if the way were dark and star in her memory that could never form, never take shape, that swallowed everything else she knew if I dared to come too close. Some days she thought I was my sister. If I was Kid, it was as if Kid didn't exist, had never existed at all. As if I were a fiction, an imaginary friend. Did it mean she always loved me less? The answer to that question could never perturb me, never matter to me, because I couldn't care less. I would gladly be uncherished and loved, hated, a miserable shadow, if I would bring her back, if I meant it never happened in the first place. But Kid did exist, I continued to exist instead of her, and knowing that I made it impossible to remain Kid Winter, I wanted to be anyone else, anywhere other than the crumbling castle by the mist. I could say, after pleading, begging, and bribing, finally I entrusted my mother into my aunt's care. I told them I would take a semester abroad, that I would write. I made sure a colleague would forward any letters to whatsoever address I landed myself at, though I expected no correspondence. I knew some would call me irresponsible, uncouth, cruel, and worse behind my back. When did they even bother hiding such words in my presence? At the time, I couldn't bring myself to feel anything at all, let alone concern over something so pathetic. I hardly packed. I wore a nondescript coat, a spare one lent to me by Gerard, or elderly steward. Then I boarded a train across the board up to Vienne. Unlike the train ride that took me to my first term for study, this time there was no one to see me off.
I'm drifting away. Lord Whitehurst. If there's anything you need, write to me. I'll have it taken care of. Wow, Kid, you don't look so good, man.
Father claps me on my back. A little too roughly, but I'm glad to have him here. These days he has gotten away from Whitehurst. But it'll be strange not to see him for months as I embark on my own journey away from home. I will, rest assured. Taken care of? Of course you will. By what means? You play a farce of a man, of a husband, and now you pretend you can fill the role of a father? Tell me I deserve it. tell me I'll never measure up to what a son should be, just as you never did.
Do right to me, kid. I'll be bored to death without you.
My sister gives me a quick thought before passing me on to Mother.
What?
I could never be perfect like you, never compare to you, never be loved like you. If I had died instead, will I be the one remembered without fault, without flaw? Or will they clutch you and sob, saying thanks because it was him and not you?
Sophie, I'm sure you're excited to be off on your own, dear. But let us know how you're doing.
Mother's arms look frail as new branches as she reaches up to me. I slid tower above her, and it's a strange uncomfortable feeling, how she seems to smile in my arms.
You'll be in my tubs every moment. I'll be fine, Mother. I like how it says Mother, but it says Sophie in here, so we know the name of the mother.
Lord Weatherhurst.
He's not a child now, dear. My father looks just like me, but he has the badge of the family here, right? For a moment I thought this was Kid, but it's just kind of like an older kid. Maybe my whole family is actually cursed, right?
He's not a child now, dear. I just only often live on her studies, not the other side of the world.
A mother's heart can help but fly wherever her children go.
You smothered me, broke me, yet never protect me. I had to protect you, suffer for you, to watch him ripping off its own feathers to clothe its parent. How could I ever be free to grow my wings?
Please don't worry. I'll take care of myself. I'll miss you all. Look after Franny as well, dear.
Francis stifles as though my mother turns to him.
Aunt Sophie, I'll be fine. He says he already returns to her embrace.
I'll be sure to.
Once we were boarded and settled into our private passenger car, I got to the window to look out at my family still on the platform, waving back at me as the train departs from the station. I stared there for a long time, even when they turned into tiny blurry sparks in the distance. So this is the time I went to college, right? Are you going to ignore me the whole journey?
I don't look up from the text I'm reading. I thought we had an agreement. I don't disturb you, and you don't disturb me.
It's disturbing how you can act like I'm not here. Are you comfortable on your throne, Your Highness? Am I thinking of your precious hair?
Forgive me, but perhaps I'm just not fond of pointless conversation.
So we can see, I have noticed a few things, like Kid obviously wears like everything red. His sister wears everything blue. The whole family crest. And obviously he's like, Kid actually has, like I have noticed in this playthrough so far, like he likes to sacrifice for people and to help other people. Like I feel like throughout, I guess I can relate to that. Like from the heart, right? But when people don't reciprocate the way he wants them to, or people are not nice with him as he is nice to them, he just like fosters a lot of resentment, right, inside him, and that's what it's making like something bad inside him. Like I don't know, maybe he killed his sister like in a fit of like jealousy rage. Maybe even Franz, right? I think Franz is also dead in the future. Because I killed Franz, right? And that's why I'm in the cellar, I think. So that might be it.
I turned the page.
You know, if you come down from the clouds every now and then, maybe you find another people as interesting as instruments or books.
I'm sure you're precisely correct. Did you think I didn't know what pain or wretched solitude was? All this misery could have been avoided had you seen me as an equal and not a shadow to eliminate. And now they blame me for what you did? Are you happy now? Lying in the grave?
Yeah, I killed him, right? You... Oh, I can't be bothered. This blasted trance is giving me a headache. What are you reading anyways?
I flipped through the black and white sheets of the newspaper, outlining Princess Helena's marriages to the neighbor king in all of too much denial. The page crumbled sweat will under their own weight in my hands, like they are suddenly soaked in water. The letters darken and blur,
What? Heir to throne dies. What?
The murky headline now reads. I throw the sheets away from my hand like they are set aflame.
Spirits, what's gotten into you? Read something so awfully that sail your poor eyes?
Franz picked up the crumbled, perfectly dry newspaper. What happened? Was I daydreaming?
Let's see. Princess Maria Elena married King Victor of Vienna, the first of August, giving up her claim to the throne. Still going on about the wedding. Don't the papers have anything else to write about? Why are you so interested anyhow? Are you hoping a prince will come carry you away?
I blink, shaking off the strange episode. I dislike the implications. The role of our most enduring enemy, now His Majesty's son is in love?
Perhaps he was simply using it as a chance to make peace. Besides, they seem happy enough.
You think that the tyrant will marry for love? Things are frown enough with the king's only living son acting like a reckless.
Ah, stop, you sound like my father. Just waiting for a balloon to blow up.
Like father, like son. Speaking of, why didn't your parents see you off? There's a flash of discomfort in his eyes. I didn't intend to provoke, but cannot be unhappy about it either.
My father is a busy man. I couldn't bother him with something like this. And mother's holidaying in the south, remember?
He replies, not meeting my gaze. He sets the newspaper aside and pulls something out of his coat pocket.
Come on, stop reading that rubbish and play around with me.
Opening a pile of cards and finding them over on the table with a flourish. Sensing he won't leave me alone otherwise, I glance away aside.
You know, I really didn't like this guy, Franz, but
The game passes with a melancholy air. My cousin was everyone who disliked losing, even in brave diversions such as cards, but hardly shocks his claimed victory in the first round. He only quietly shuffles the deck again, dealing with a new hand with a distant look in his eyes. I can't recall the last time we were alone together in relative peace, passing the minutes without sparing or deflecting jabs and insults. It doesn't last.
it feels strange not having your sister around. Yeah, I feel like kinda bad for Franz now, since I think he's obviously a dick, right? He's an asshole, but I'm sure he has his own problems with his family, right? And as much as I'm using my problems to antagonize him, he's using his problems to antagonize me. But I guess we are both good people in the bottom, right?
I look up from my hand. I can see Chris in my mind's eye, waving from the platform, becoming smaller and smaller as the train speeds away from the station. It's not as if we can spend our whole lives side by side, I say, ignoring the knot in my stomach. I hate to admit that he's right. I never spend more than days, perhaps a week or two apart from my sister, but now I wouldn't see her in months.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine it. Being a twin, I mean. Having a second me wandering around.
We're siblings, not copies.
I know that. Ha! If you were a girl, though, I wouldn't be able to tell you apart.
Wait, no, I could. You always be me more than knowing one. I'm in agreement about you being an only child. I'm glad I don't have more cousins. He snorts and fiddles with the cards in his hand.
Don't you ever wonder about it, though? If you've been born someone else or a girl like Chris? Did you ever want it to be a girl? Do you? Maybe we can kiss, we are just cousins. Okay, I'm just kidding, sorry.
I blink. I can say I have. Why should I? I'm quite happy being her brother. That much is true. As for where I wish to be Kit, the scion of winter,
if only I was better suited to this role. Imagining other lives is pointless. I never wanted to be born. Man, I gotta agree. I do feel like this sometimes. Personally. Like, not all the time, not frequently, but like once a year, the incredible feeling that it should have been better for me to not be born. Like, clouds my mind sometimes, right? I think well, I don't know if it happens to everyone, right? But it happens to me, and it's just a process, right? Because I think like, I never wanted to be born, and then I think of all the things that would be better if I wasn't here, and it feels bad, but also like restoring at the same time. But then after a moment, like a day or two maybe after thinking that, I think of all the things I have, of all the people I have helped, right? And it might not be a lot of people, and my help might not be like super useful, but I like to think I'm doing more good than I'm doing bad in the world, right? So I don't want to put this one. Uh, if only I was better suited for to this role.
Nobility is bred, not taught. That is what I always been told. But why did I never feel true in my case? The rhythm of the chord, the tempo of society, supposedly I was born for both, but rarely was I ever able to move along to its tune. I had no natural graces, nor charm, no gift for sweet words. I could hardly gain the favor of a tree branch, let alone another person. Wit I lacked.
What you don't have in wit, you make it up in kit. Sorry.
Confidence I found one thing. The poise I carried myself with was due only to my dim with slowness and showing any feeling at all. I was utterly unlike my sister, so beloved, capable, and talented. Few people ever spared me a second glance, while she could steal the entire room's attention. Sometimes it feels like an accident and misfortune, then I be born at all. Like I was her imperfect copy, unlike in every way except appearance. How could I not wish, or wonder at times, if I could have been born somebody else entirely? I quickly returned to the game to distract myself from my cousin's vexing question. It looks like I win again.
Don't look so smug. I was just warming up.
We play a few more rounds, then settle into other diversions, passing the journey in silence afterwards. The brook rhythm of the train over the tracks, steady as a heartbeat, is a rough but soothing sound. When I relax my eyelids, it is long before I'm lulled into lazy dreams. A weight lies on my chest. I struggle to breathe. I'm enveloped in darkness. My limbs are stiff, unmoving. I lie on my back, but feel nothing beneath me. The only sound in my ears is the crashing of endless waves over an infinite sea.
I'm dead. This is where the first episode ends, right?
Gentle hands frame my face. Gold-like eyes, formless as mist, stroking my hair, trying vainly to soothe me. I shiver helplessly at her couch. I know that she wants from me. I'm bloodless, but not hollow. I have cried, I have lost, I have fallen, again and again, and won 20 years of sorrow and agony. A pitiable feast, a sorry excuse for all delicacy. Please, I gasp, finding my voice. She brings her lips to my throat. Cold pinpricks puncture me like my thorns. My essence leaves me, swirling around us, becoming one with the mist of an unending sea. There are tears in my eyes. Why does it hurt to give these pieces of myself away? Why do I not do so freely? I'll be gone soon, less than dust. Can it be that I still hold them close to my heart? Are there fragile scraps of tenderness that I refuse to yield to anyone but myself? Or there are the shards embedded in the depths of my psyche? Buried presences I could never touch, lest I bled. As she partakes of my essence, so too do I feel the faintest echo of hers. She devours not only to save herself, but in search of something. Recognition, remembrance, recollections of herself in my memories. When? Is it my turn? She searches hungrily, sitting through
That was my sister, right?
sifting through the thousand imagined sounds of sensations. Every bite, every drink of me is a sense I'm forced to live to repeat. I see. My sister and I as children, my cousin asleep in the train, a girl in a garden of blooming roses.
Well, this seems. I guess the options in red are the important ones for for the ending or the change, like the pivot of the story. Okay, so the woman in white might be my sister, and we had like this weird connection. Oh, but I saw her before my sister died, right? I was thinking like maybe we have this weird connection because we are twins. So for one, I want to see my sister and I as children, but I also want to see a girl in a garden of blooming roses. I'm gonna click this one.
What if I close my eyes? Then I wouldn't be watching you. Promise me you won't look.
I promise.
I hover over the keyboard, fingers lightly touching but not holding down the keys. My arms are shaking. I could be tossed into a roaring flame and not even that warm the ice my limbs. I don't know how long I've stared down at the row of black and ivory. The girl sits sideways at the very edge of the bench next to me, still facing away. She hasn't moved an inch. Turn around like Orpheus. She sits, ever patient, untempted. I take a deep, slow breath, then another. After what seems like aeons, I begin to play.
And this one's green. I will have to think every character has a color associated to it, maybe. Let's listen to the song for a moment.
I feel a complete fool. My long, awkward fingers stumbling over a simple, lilting melody. I couldn't do this for anyone else. The piano, the thing that I loved, yet threatened to devour me if I performed in another's presence, even for my mother or Chris. Yet somehow my hands continued to play. Chord after chord, note after note. It is at once terrifying and exhilarating. Like if I'm taking flight with a brand new wings. Diving, falling.
Oh, that's kinda cute. Uh,
I brush her shoulder with my arm as she sways in her seat. She still hasn't turned around. I let my hands float to their own rhythm, dancing across the keys. Freeing my mind to wander, to imagine the deep green eyes that lie behind her lashes. The girl is...
Ooh, I can choose who she is. Someone I could call a friend at last. The only person I could offer my heart to. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. This is not friend behavior, right?
Can I turn around? She asks as I finish playing. Yes, but don't open your eyes. She shifts, swinging her skirts over the front of the bench, eyes shut tight. I just done what I'd previously thought impossible. Then, could I do this as well? Hesitantly, I brush a stray lock of her hair from her face. She shivers, surprised by my touch, but relaxes, parting her mouth expectantly. I meet her lips, soft as rose petals, with mine. My heart beats so rapidly, like I've sprinted for miles. I don't dare hold her, run my clammy hands through the waves of her chestnut hair. But this is enough. More than enough. It is wonderful. I feel like I'm soaring.
Is this someone I met at college, university, whatever?
I lie motionless, gasping. I feel lighter with every sip that passes her lips, every moment that felt could slip be an eternity. In a strange, somber way, it suits me, drifting in a state that it's neither sleep nor dead life nor dream, floating on nothing but soft waves that become to a distant shore and farther sea. The past 3 years I thought I lived as a hollow shell, but I was wrong. How could true emptiness be this blissful? Voices and images form around me, evanescent and pale, swirling like the snow. yet gentler than the winters I knew it was crumbling castle of stone. A sharp pang runs through me and the recollections of those tall towers, that place so strange yet achingly familiar. Why do I feel this way? Shouldn't I recognize the castle I live in all my life? I realize these feelings are not mine alone. Her presence above me, against my throat, adds with the afterglow of her own thoughts and memories. Every taste leaves a trace of herself behind, like pen strokes imprinted on a page.
Well, she's kinda using the same dress, but I couldn't really tell since it's all white, right?
Who are you? How do you know this place? I croak. There's no reply as she continued to search. Unsated, confusion and frustration growing wilder. Bordering near despair, I try to move my phantom limbs and find I can only barely lift my fingers.
There's a bunch of choices in this game. It's not a complaint, I like it. Lie still, let her fist. Struggle, resist, wake up, well. Lie still, let her fist.
I lay back and cease resisting. I struggle only to lift my hand and raise it, wavering, to her cheek by my throat. I rest it there, then softly stroke her misty hair as cold tear lands on my face. Her own voice sobs echoing in our shared essence. It's alright, I whisper, comforting this pain that will consume me whole. But how could I do otherwise? I felt and feel her suffering as my own. I could not think to do less. I don't know if or when she ceases shuddering, or where she lets me go. All I know once more is darkness. Sweet, true nothingness. Lattice windows look out at the autumn sunset, the last roses furling their dying petals, splashes of crimson amidst the branches and browning leaves. Golden light filters into a room ornamented in florals and gilt. Paintings of fruit and forest and hills hanging from its pastel-colored walls. 12 white camellia flowers light in an elegant vase over a table draped in linen.
Kid?
A soft voice, soft and clear, calls me.
But who is this woman?
I turn and see her sitting on the piano bench. Long brown hair near plaited save a loose strand across her brow. Hands resting delicately at the sides of her white dress.
White dress. Anja. It's Anja. Yeah, okay. Okay. So I'm thinking now. I was thinking it was Anja, right? But what I'm thinking is, if I don't tell her that I want to spend the rest of her life with her, do I get this option? That's what I'm wondering, right? And this is very different from the path I took last time, so I'm guessing all the paths in this game are really different, right? I'm guessing they're gonna have some elements in common because I have seen some things repeat. But what I'm saying is, I don't think I can play all the routes in this game. It might be too much. Let's just play. Play for me, she orders.
I walk towards the piano and take a seat next to her.
Okay, I see flowers, I see people. Maybe it's herself.
Her eyes never leave me, glittering like a cat's. I'll leave the polished wooden cover hover out the keys. This is wrong. This never happened. Anja, you never watched me play. Not like this. With a hand light as a feather, she touches my shoulder. That's because I'm not real, kid.
Damn, everything I was mentioning just crumbled away. So she never went with me, she died, and I'm just making this stuff up, right?
Not a spirit, not a memory, just a figment of your sorry little imagination. Sorry indeed. If this were my imagination, then one would think I will see you blushing beneath a veil, like the two of us sitting in the garden 10 years older, small green-eyed child on each knee. You're a hopeless, wretchful fool, Kid Winter, and so are your dreams. Yeah, because this is myself telling. Obviously, I don't love myself. Instead, I sit here and listen to you speak words that I resent you utterly, yet utterly deserve. I smile another bitter smile, the kind she always hated, hollow and lifeless behind the eyes. A dream it may be, yet still feels no different from the manner I knew in my life. She looks the same as she did those fleeting months, a waste of a girl whose spirit could never be contained in her small frame. I tentatively reach for her, find she is solid to the touch, unfading. She wraps her fingers around mine a moment before withdrawing her hand. Don't, Kid. Don't stay here. You have to forget me. You need to wake up. Okay, so when they asked me if I could see Anja, my sister, or my cousin, those three are dead, right? Because my sister died, Anja died of the illness, and I killed my cousin. So I'm just seeing dead people, and I guess more or less each one of them will try to prevent me from just giving up, right? Anja, wait, please. The night of the ball, when I asked you that, I never cared of what you, about your wealth or your name. All I wanted to stay with you to your last breath. Kid, please, it's too late now. I can hear your apologies. I'm dead. Wake up. Anja. I reach for her in vain as the room melts away, the warmth of the lights and the scent of the flowers soon following. My bones laden and nothingness swallows me, thoroughly and completely. I guess just letting the woman in white suck me dry, it's like giving up, right? I waking on the cellar floor, rose down beneath me. A weight lies on my chest. Something is in my arms, cool, hard, and hollow and brittle. I open my eyes and stare back into a human skull. The skeleton is on top of me, enveloping me in a chilling embrace. I remember in the other route I played, I was able to remove the stakes, right, from the skeleton, and then I lost my senses. Are you called Adel? Who's Adel? No. Know what you're here. I'm glad. Hold on just a little longer. He smiles and takes my hand. What? Is that Kid? Or his father? Or another I don't think we have another relative, right? His heart beats too loudly with excitement to care, and that pulse seems to waken my own. I'm sated, and the fresh air makes me giddy with wonder. It bubbles beneath my skin, flushed with newfound warmth. Well, I know we are vampires, right? Up ahead, great spires of stone gleam in the moonlight, gleaming tall at the forest trees. Their familiar peaks I've seen often from the far side of the lake. So this was a castle. This is where I'll hide you over winter. It won't be too difficult. Oh, it's the skeleton. I'm sharing the memories with the skeleton. Yeah, of course. Because in my imagination, she's like embracing me, and when I wake up, the skeleton is over me. So it's the skeleton sharing. It's the skeleton used to date my dad, maybe? Half the halls are in use, and if anyone hears something, they'll think it's a ghost. Or a mistwalker. I finish. Or maybe this is like the future. I'm so confused right now. Indeed, my Miss Queen, he replies. You're the only one who looks like he came from the mist, I think, watching his silver hair gleam like a gossamer in the night, the silver of a moon reflecting his pale blue eyes. But unlike the mist, his silent round mine is warm. I hung onto it tightly, never once looking back.
Hmm. Whoop. Well, this is grim. End of demo. So I finished all the chapters, or is this just gonna keep going? I'm confused. Okay. Ellie. Hey, you reached the end of the demo. Thank you so much for playing. I'm Ellie, the solo dev behind Kit. Can you believe this is made by a solo dev? Because I totally can't. Solo devs are amazing. If you'd like to keep up to date with the project, feel free to check out my Twitter. I don't have a Twitter, too bad, or Tumblr. I already follow you on Tumblr, I believe. Or follow me, follow the devlog on itch.io. I do that too. If you guys want, these are links, I think. So if you guys play the game, you can click those and it would send you there. If you have any questions, comments, please let me know at any places I mentioned. There's also an optional Google form. I will try to fill it after the gameplay, where you can leave feedback. Thanks again for making it this far. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the final version of Kit when it comes out. Until then, have a good one. And that's it. I can access the phonograph. Ooh. What do I have? Some letters in peace? Rest in peace, right? And who are you? Descent, distant shore. Okay, you guys can hear that? Wait, let me put it again. Yeah, that's really nice. Really nice. I like it. Okay, so we have Decent, Reminiscence, Distant Shore, Who Are You? Solitude, Tension, Lonesome Stars, Fading Stars, Waltz in B minor, Falling Leaf, Cultist Moonlight, Dark Skies, Corel. This is actually a really beautiful song. Closer Shore, Rose in Bloom. I guess Rose in Bloom it's for the girl in green, and this is gonna be for my sister and for my cousin from the mist, maybe. And this phonograph looks really good. We also have the gallery, which I have to admit, this game has a lot more CGs than I expected. We have the lady in the lake with all the close-ups. That's nice. We have Are You Cold? So I feel we're like kinda vampires. And this, I got like... I'm so confused right now about the story. I have a few theories, but I don't want to say them. Like, maybe I got locked into the basement. I just want to play the full game. I know I will have to wait more months, but it's okay. Maybe we are vampires that like get hide into cellars for our own safety, or the story of the vampires it's previous to my family or after the fact. I don't know. Anja, it's really beautiful, you know. It's too sad she has to go. This I really like this CG. I think this is my favorite CG. It's just like something, because you know this never happened, right? According to the game, this never happened. It's just like, I don't know if you guys ever loved someone too much, but it was like unrequited love, and not like intense love. It's just someone you wanted to be with, right? And you imagine yourself being with that person, like sharing a moment like this one, and I really like it. It's really nice. This one too, and this is obviously the skeleton that I'm gonna guess it's the girl in the. She's like sharing her memories with me. This is Ophelia. Okay, so the thing is this. Let's theory craft a little bit. Now I feel bad for not giving wine to the skeleton because she was like kinda alive. Because we know the skeleton it's a girl because she had a small frame, right? So the skeleton it's Ophelia that it's now that we are trapped in here. She was obviously found out and killed like a vampire, right? Because all the stakes. So we know that. And she's now sharing her memories with me. So this is where like Kit's memories end and her memory of Ophelia. I guess it's called Ophelia. Ophelia's memories begin, and we're gonna hear a whole different story of someone that ended in like kind of the same situation as Kit, but for a different reason, right? I think I learned. This is also a really beautiful city. I don't know. I like this too. Indeed, my mist queen. And his pale blue eyes. But wait a second. Why isn't blue supposed to be my sister's color? Well, I guess we both have blue eyes. Right? But there's like a sliver of light in here, and I don't know if it's just for like general visibility of the image, because obviously if it's completely dark you can't really see anything. Or did someone open the door at the end? So I have quite a few CGs, so I guess there's gonna be one for my cousin and one for my sister, right? And then there's gonna be another one for going outside. For on the ball going outside following the I don't know if it's the same one, I don't remember. But I think I played the piano for the lady in the lake. So that will be another, and I don't know what the other one can be, but some really nice CGs. We have gallery about. Thank you for downloading the demo. Kid is a gothic horror vision novel. Okay, so these are the credits. Can you help me? Okay. So I guess what I can do, I could play the whole thing, right? I've been playing for like 2 hours, a little bit. But again, like I always tell you guys, if you want to experience the game, it's better to play it for you. It's good that you see this gameplay. I really appreciate you watching the video this far. But you have to go play the game. The link will be down in the description with all the games I have played so far. You can go to the itch.io page of the developer, to the Tumblr, Twitter, whatever you want. Download the game, take different choices, experience the whole story. Obviously, after I finish the video, I'm gonna play a few of the other choices myself. To be specific, the red ones, I think they are the ones that changed everything. Like, obviously, I would choose my sister and then my cousin at last because... like I mentioned, I hated my cousin on the last playthrough, but on this one I feel a little more sympathetic towards him. Like, I feel kind of bad for him too. So yeah, the red options. So we have one red option in here. No. I want to load. Yeah, I want to load. Whew. Okay, we have one in here that it's attempt to open it or leave it be. I choose to leave it be. Okay, it's obviously obscured. So opening it, it's gonna do what I did in my previous playthrough. You can go and watch that video if you want. Okay, so this is one of the choices. So we have one red option. 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 red options, so we have a divergence of quite a bunch of like things I didn't see. So again, I really recommend you playing the game for yourself, guys. This game was suggested to me well, I already played the game right previously, but a lot of people were commenting on me like, "Hey, can you play the rest?" And I really wanted to, and it was worth the wait. I will try to not play this game again until the whole game is finished, and when the whole game is finished, I'm gonna play all the routes, everything. Right? I don't want to do it right now because obviously the game is subject to change because it's just a demo. And I'm saying just a demo, but it was a complete story. I know complete visual novels that are shorter and less quality than this one. This may as well be the full game. I can imagine what the full game is gonna be. So when Kid the full game comes out, I will make sure to play it thoroughly. But for now, if you want to see other routes, you will have to play them yourself, guys. Now to my review of the game, real quick. I hope my narration was decent. I struggle with being able to like narrate long visual novels, so yeah. So I think the game, as I mentioned before, we have history. Okay, you can read this everything. Okay. I mentioned this before. The game, I think, looks amazing. It has like that gothic look really nailed on. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like some Castlevania like art, like official art, especially like Symphony of the Night and stuff like that. I guess it's the white hair, long hair characters dressed like this, which I really like a lot. So like art wise, obviously the illustrations are amazing. These things look, they fit really well with the narrative of the game, and I mean, I just love it. I love the skeleton. Now that we know, I'm gonna talk of the story in a little while, right? Obviously the music, it's perfect too. I really like all the piano songs, everything. Obviously Kid plays the piano, so it fits quite well. And yeah, I think visually and like the music, I think everything. I don't have any complaint about it. It's really amazing. The CGs are quite beautiful, and I would be like, I want more CGs, but that would just be me being selfish, right? Or not selfish, just being greedy, or like greedy, yeah. Because yeah, everyone wants more CGs, but making CGs is hard, right? Especially such good ones. So I'm happy with the amount of CGs I got. The characters, all of them have really good personalities. Now going into the characters, obviously Kid, his sister, mother, father, cousin, lover. Well, it was not a lover, right? But that. Now we have this new couple of characters, right? That is the skeleton girl, Ophelia, and what I'm gonna guess it's her lover, which looks too much like a family member of. Maybe it was my father, right? And I'm thinking, like, I'm just thinking over my head right now, but maybe my father fell in love because it was mentioned before that my father used to cheat on my mother, right? I think, and it was not the first time. So maybe my father was cheating on my mom with a vampire, and my mother found out, and they killed the vampire and throw it into the chest, and somehow that cursed my whole family. Maybe it was that, right? That's like one possibility. Maybe I'm just theory crafting dumb stuff, but it might be, right? Now for the story, there's a bunch to take in, I guess. Very different playthrough from my first one, and obviously expanded. Yeah. Again, I have a newfound sympathy for my cousin. Not too much, and I want to see what happens if I choose him when I'm dying. I'm wondering if his spirit it's gonna be in search of like vengeance against me because I killed him, or he's gonna be like, oh, you know what? I understand that you killed me, man. No problem. You should leave. But even if I don't give up on dying, because obviously the skeleton wants me. I've been wondering, even as a skeleton, can she suck my blood and come back to life? That's what I'm wondering, right? Does she still sucks my blood if I give her the wine? That's another question I have. Can I give my life in exchange for her, or can we like fuse into one entity? Maybe. Is she the woman in white that I have been seeing? Because if she died in here and it's been a long time in this chest, Maybe she's the apparition, right? And maybe she killed my sister because she has a grudge with the family, right? Because all the things that are like unlucky things happening, like the wall falling down and almost killing my dad, feels like there's a ghost with a grudge trying to kill us, right? Except for some reason, well, my mom was going crazy. Maybe that's part of it, right? Maybe she saw the ghost too much, or maybe the fact that she had to kill a vampire just make her go mad. And because my sister mentioned there was always something looking at her, maybe that's the ghost, maybe the ghost of the vampire, right? Of Ophelia. So everything, I think it's coming together. I'm not sure I'm right with what I'm saying, but everything seems to be coming together in a really nice way. Obviously, the lamentations and the sadness of Kid fits really well. Again, I with this playthrough, I noticed that he's a nice individual, a nice person, I guess. But he's like a people pleaser, I guess, because he feels he's good for nothing, right? And he tries to help everyone and anything with. It doesn't matter if just that's what he thinks. It doesn't matter that I sacrifice my happiness as long as I can help other people and make other people happy, right? And but then the other people don't like feel the same way as him or don't reciprocate the feeling, right? And then he becomes sour inside and he's just like holding this grudge against everyone because he thinks he is right, but he thinks I'm so nice. And I think I personally can relate to that because I used to be like that. I'm kind of a little bit like that still. I still try to help people, but I try not to get too mad when they don't give back what I give to them, right? Because obviously, if you tear yourself to pieces giving to other people, there's gonna be nothing left in you, and you're gonna fill that hole with hate because that's the only thing you have. The only thing you can produce at that moment is hate. So you're gonna fill your missing pieces with hate, and you're just gonna be like a ball of hate. I feel that's what I am right now. So I'm with you in that, Kid. So maybe being a little selfish would be nice for a kid, right? And maybe like being selfish means not giving myself to the skeleton. But at the same time, what I want is to die, right? To be free. But if I die and I don't have all my if I haven't finished business, maybe I'm not gonna go to the other shore, right? So there's a lot of stuff to process. I'm sure the other routes of the game will give you more insight into all of this. So I'm gonna leave it here. Really nice game. I will have to process all that I learned from now. And like I say, amazing game. I'm really enjoying it. I enjoyed it last time. I think it's becoming even more amazing and an even more interesting story. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, developer, for making the game. And I will see you guys in the next indie game stream or whatever. See you later.